In sports, the scoreboard doesn't tell the full story, but Netflix does. Stories about dads who happen to be world-class quarterbacks and a battle for the heart, soul, and direction of the multi-billion-dollar business of F1. Whether you're a diehard fan or you're brand new, Netflix has the stories for every type of fan. You can watch these incredible sports stories like Quarterback, F1 Drive to Survive, Untold, and many more now on Netflix.
Hello and welcome to a new podcast, The Paddock and The Pavilion with Stephen Wallace. In each show, Stephen will interview someone connected to the world of horse racing or cricket.
Hello and welcome to The Paddock and The Pavilion. And I trust you are all keeping safe and well in these very difficult times. The good news is that we have a few extra episodes lined up for the next couple of weeks, which I hope you will all enjoy. On today's podcast, we welcome back Jamie Neild, the ex-Liverpool Academy player who swapped his football boots for riding boots and became a jockey. It was only right to invite Jamie back on the show after he achieved one of his dreams when he rode at Aintree in early December. I hope you enjoy the show, and please keep an eye on our Facebook and Twitter pages for details of all upcoming episodes. Hello Jamie, welcome back to the Paddock and the Pavilion.
Hi there, thanks for having me on again.
Oh, I just had to have you on again, Jamie, as you fulfilled one of your racing dreams at Aintree back in early December. But to start with, what sort of Christmas have you had?
I was lucky. I went home for a few days and seen the family, and then kind of back to work. It's Christmas especially is a difficult time for everyone with what's going on, but you just got to try and enjoy it as best you can and get back to work really and focus on the new year, and hopefully this upcoming year is a lot better for everyone else.
So did while you were at home get a chance to watch some of the racing over Christmas as well?
I did, yeah. Look, we all I went riding over the Christmas period, and that's something that hopefully this time next year I'll kind of be at them big meetings and but look, I watched the end of every race, and there's a lot of great races that went over there, so it was good, and it was good to relax, and now I'm refocused and ready to go again.
So you must have seen St Calvados run a good race in the King George. I
did, yeah, I did. What a horse, and I think this year's a massive one for him, and I'd hope to see him there in the Gold Cup in March. But look, you never know, things change, but hopefully he doesn't have a troubled run there, and he'll be there. So
have you ever a chance to sit on him at all?
Yeah, well, I've ridden him quite a lot and got a special connection with him, and he's an horse that kind of, even if our paths split up eventually, he'll hold a massive place in my heart, and probably is the best horse I'll probably ever sit on. Yeah, he's a special horse.
Now you're back at work at Harry Whittington's. What's a typical day like for you?
You go in, you ride out, and you do your yard duties. You go home, have a short break, and you go back again. And that's if you're not racing, of course. Yeah, it's a good place, and he's a good man, and he's got some nice horses, and yeah, it's definitely a yard that's on the up.
What sort of time are you starting though?
You'd be in for between 6 o'clock and 6:30, and your day goes from there. You do your mucking out and do your riding out, and then have a short break, and then head back for your evening duties.
And how many horses do you tend to ride each day?
5 on average, really. But obviously, some days it could be more if you're short-staffed, or some days it can be less if you're off racing or something.
And he's got about 50 horses, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
And when you were at school, were you always someone that got up early in the morning?
Not really, but it's a lot different, You're waking up to go and ride animals, not waking up to go and do maths or something, or English, so it's a lot different, and I'm growing up now, so it's a lot easier,
Yeah, so you don't need to be kicked out of bed like you were when you were at school then, no?
Well, no, I haven't really got a choice anymore. I have to kind of I live on my own, so it's down to me whether I get up or not.
You must have had some cold and frosty ones to start with, though, since you've been back.
Yeah, it is. So look, during the summer you get some lovely days riding out, so you got to take what you're given, I suppose. And as you say, it's a lot easier riding in this weather if you sat on a nice horse.
Well, I'd like to just explore the difference in riding a horse and being a footballer. How do you keep fit as a jockey?
A lot of different ways, really. Like I love running, so I'm always out running, and living in near Lambourne, we have obviously Oaksey House with their gym facilities, and the guys and the coaches in there, they fulfill your needs and keep you on the right track. But independently, I'd always be out running and stuff anyway when I spare 30-40 minutes. So it's just down to yourself, really. Obviously, when you're riding every day, you keep fit naturally doing that. But it's the days when you're not riding that you got to take it into your own hands and do your own work.
So can you still use Oaksey House at the moment then?
You can. They've been very good. That they put classes on and circuit training and stuff, and it's thankfully we've got them. Otherwise, a lot of people would struggle with weight, etc.
But it's obviously different from bit different type of fitness than being a footballer, though. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things are the same between football and horse racing, but you'd work on similar things in a lot of ways, but different intensities.
One thing that is different though is injuries. When you're riding in races, or even when you're riding out, are you ever worried about falling off? And have you had a sort of bad fall when you've fallen off?
You sat on a live animal, so obviously it's if it wants to do something, it's going to do it regardless if you're on its back or not. So you'd have to always be aware, but you have to trust your ability on the back of an horse that if it was to mess around or throw a buck or two in, that you're capable of sitting to it. And look, you're going to have falls along the way. It's part of the game, but hopefully you're in shape and that can help avoid injuries. I've been fortunate. I haven't really had a major injury, touch wood, yet in my career so far. So if I managed to do that for the whole of my career, I think I'd be extremely lucky.
Yeah, I think you will. But you hear about it. But are you actually taught how to fall when you're at like Oaksey House and when you're training?
You can you taught, but if you're gonna fall and you come, for instance, in a race, you come off at 30 miles an hour, you ain't thinking about I'm falling. Instinct takes over, and it is what it is,
And in the sort of difficult times that we're in for a jockey, are you getting help from or is there available help from the Professional Jockeys Association with regard to sort of mental issues and things like that?
Yeah, of course. We all kind of have. We know where to go if you are struggling mentally. There's a lot of things in place, and people are always in touch with you. And I'm very lucky, I'm very mentally strong, and it's not something I've ever had to worry about. But I work with a charity, Stamp Out Suicide, who they're wonderful what they do, and I'm always posting on my social medias about them and their helplines and the things they put on. So there's millions of help out there, and hopefully if anyone is struggling in which are unbelievable difficult times, that they have places to go and people to talk to. And I know for a fact that I'd always be there if anyone needed to chat with me, regardless of just on social media. And I know a lot of the lads feel the same, and it's a close-knit community racing, and everyone's there for each other, and that's one of the wonderful things about the sport.
Well, that's very good to hear, and you actually even answered my question here. I wanted to know what was the tie-up with you with the Stamp Out Suicide campaign. There must be a reason why you've adopted that sort of campaign with your social media.
Yeah, I've always said if I could, you're on a massive platform, and I'm hopeful that I'm only going to get bigger and bigger, and my first sponsor was a charity called Autism Rocks, which obviously works with autistic people, and and then I've gone with Stamp Out Suicide now, which is another, you hear about, unfortunately, people taking their lives in this sport, whether it's to do with the pressures or when they retire from the sport, and it's desperately sad. And if I can, the bigger my profile gets, if I can have these charities alongside me, spreading the word, I'd do that a million times over than kind of take a sponsor that, I don't know, is a building site or something. That's nothing against the lads that do that, but that's just the way I want to be, and I'll do that for the rest of my career if I can.
Well, that's very good to hear, and obviously racing has had some very tragic incidents, even last year, with jockeys. And with your role as an ambassador for the British Racing School, you can really project that sort of campaign.
Exactly, yeah, and that's what I aim to do. I want to get kids into the sport, and if I can do that with the racing school, because they obviously took a chance with me, then kids can live this life that we live, and it is bottom line a great life to live, and I love every minute of it.
Well, let's talk about Aintree. On Saturday the 5th of December, you had a ride on the mild make horse at Aintree. Was the horse, Bigmartre, always going to run at that meeting?
Yeah, he can't. Look, I don't know his plans. I leave that to Harry and the owners. But I knew a couple of weeks out that he was going to be aimed there, and I didn't want to get me. And I rode him the day before, and I didn't want to get too excited thinking I'd ride him again. So I didn't ask any questions. I just kept my head down. And I just prayed when decks come that, it'd be my name on him. And thankfully for me, it was. And unfortunately on the day, the ground probably just went against him. But my jump from fence to fence, and, the last little bit of the race, he just got a bit tired in that ground. But, he plugged onto the line, and sure, today I'll never, ever, ever forget.
Well, he started well, didn't he? And then faded towards the end, coming ninth. But he got round, which must have been pleasing for you.
He did, yeah. And, the whole way I was upside Sam Twiston-Davies, who, he's a good friend of mine. And he was talking to me on the way round. And, it's just kind of, once you kind of get home and you watch it back and you just think, geez, what a day, And I was fortunate. My father and my brother and my sister were in there, and I wish everyone, friends and family, could have been there, but maybe in April, fingers crossed, I'll be there again, and friends and family will be able to be there.
Luckily, crowds were allowed at that meeting. What members of the family were there?
My father, my brother, and my sister managed to get in, and it was wonderful for them to be in there with me, and hopefully I'm back there in April and a lot more family and friends can be there to watch me. But the support from the people that were there was wonderful. I had plenty of good luck shouts on my way out to shoot, and I tried to take it all in and enjoy it as much as I could, and I certainly did that.
So did it add to the pressure having your dad and your brother watching, or did you actually embrace that with them watching?
Yeah, I think I embraced it. As soon as you get on the back of the horse, regardless of where you're at, you kind of go into the zone, and the noise it zones out, and you just focus on the job ahead, and that's kind of what I done as soon as I was on, and then I, took it all in afterwards again. But once you're going down to start, it's kind of your game heads on, and all you're thinking about is the horse and the race.
And does even a small crowd make a difference to a jockey?
It does, yeah. Look, I love that side of things, I love the crowds being there, and the atmosphere and the noise, and I was fortunate to ride at Cheltenham last year with full capacity, and it makes a difference. And someone like me, I probably rise to the occasion more with the crowd there, and pressure on.
So when you actually ride in a COVID world, what sort of different things are you having to do as a jockey on a race day at the course?
it feels like it's been in that long that it almost feels normal now, which is weird.
Yeah, I bet.
But it's just kind of your regular checks when you arrive to the races, and keeping your mask on and sanitizing your hands and things like that. But as I say, it feels like it's been in that long now that it's almost normal to to normal times, if you like.
Yeah, yeah. And you're changing in different areas now at courses, aren't you?
Yeah, and in some courses it's probably better because you have a bit more room to yourself. But look, I'm sure everyone wants to get back to normality as quickly as possible. But it's the hand we're dealt, and we have to, as long as we're back racing, that's all that matters.
Now, since we last spoke in October, you've been to quite a few different courses. How have things been going?
Very well, yeah. Of course, you want to be riding every single day and 5 rides a day if you can, but it takes time, and especially when you're in a young conditional. And I keep biding my time and try and ride out with plenty of different trainers as well, and broaden your horizons and connections with other trainers and owners. And that's what I'll continue to do, and hopefully things just keep going the way they are. And come the back end of the year, I'll have plenty of winners under my belt, and try and get my name out there. But it's difficult for people to give you the opportunities, but it is what it is, and you got to just keep going.
When you hit the headlines a little bit when you nearly fell off Townshend at Ascot, and there's some fantastic pictures of him on the internet, and hopefully we'll get one to put on the Paddock and the Pavilion page. But can you recall that day when you everyone was saying how remarkable it was that you stayed on the horse?
Yeah, one of Townsend's best attributes are his jumping. I think we just got blinded. We went in there right stride, and I was confident that he was going to just pop it as usual. But I think we got blinded for a second, and we just got a bit mixed up signals. Yeah, we kind of went through the bottom of it, and instinct takes over. I thought I was on my way down, and I managed to cling on, and the horse is very genuine. He kept galloping and just let me climb all over him till I was back in the saddle. So testament to the horse, and luckily we made it round. And considering such a stop in our momentum, we actually ran a good race. And but look, it's one of them things. I got lucky.
Yeah, well, you even sort of made headlines on ITV Racing, but because it was a Grade 3 chase, so it was a decent race at Ascot that day.
Yeah, look, I would have rather get the headlines for winning the race, rather than nearly falling off in front of the stands. But it is what it is.
That's right.
all publicity is good publicity, people were saying to me, but yeah, it's one of them things.
So have you got any rides coming up, hopefully in January?
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. Townsend should be back out. He's had a nice little break. He ran quite a lot in a short space of time, and before we freshen him up over Christmas and run him again. So we'll find the right race for him, and he'll be back out within the next couple of weeks. And
of course, your dad had the Hollow Ginge, who ran so well, coming fourth in the Ladbrokes Trophy back at the end of November.
He did, yeah. He's a horse that we've always thought a lot of. Just lost his way a little bit, whether, he's a big raw horse, whether he's just a bit weak or we don't know, but we freshened him up, and we thought he was overpriced, and, Gavin gave him a wonderful ride. And
as we spoke off air, hopefully we might be able to get the owner, your father, perhaps on the Paddock and the Pavilion at some point to talk about the Hollow Ginge and the Splash of Ginge, of course.
Yeah, I'm sure my father would love to do that. He's also his pride and joy, as you've seen. And, Splash of Ginge boots are big boots to fill, but the Hollow's going the right way. And if you can get to the Grand National, which my father's always dreamed of, owning a horse that runs in that, then, that'd be wonderful.
Well, let's hope so. It'll be a great day for the family as well. Now, moving forward to spring and Cheltenham and Aintree, are you hopeful of getting a ride or two at those meetings?
Yeah, that's what we plan to do. Obviously, Townsend will be aimed at all them big meetings anyway, so hopefully I'll be there with him. And then you know, if I can get the support of other people and other owners and trainers, then so be it. But that's what we work for. It's down to me to keep my head down, work hard, and when I get the opportunities, take them with both hands.
Well, let's hope you particularly get back to Aintree again and even get a chance to ride over those the bigger fences at the April meeting. But before we go, I must rub it in. Oh, that's hard being an Arsenal fan. That Everton have now dropped to 4th in the table, although you did beat Arsenal. But
yeah, it's a season where they fill you up thinking, you know, even I started believing we were going to win the league at one point, and then we got a reality check. But look, we got the right man in the job, and hopefully, you know, in the coming seasons, we'll be consistently at that end of the table.
Well, there's a long way to go, but they've certainly made a good start. But thank you very much again for being on the Paddock and the Pavilion, and the best of luck for the spring with hopefully rides at Cheltenham and Aintree.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for listening to the Paddock and the Pavilion. You can download the show on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher and Spotify. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at The Pad and Pad.
Sports Social Podcast Network. Don't forget that your skin is your largest organ, and the sun can be your skin's worst enemy. Dermatologist recommended Neutrogena products offer the ultimate protection for your skin. From makeup remover wipes to Hydro Boost Water Gel Facial Moisturizer, BJ's has your entire lineup of Neutrogena skincare products. And now through December 3rd, save $4 on any Neutrogena product at BJ's. Love your skin back and save now through December 3rd, only at BJ's.